Almost 6 years ago, little 18-year-old me made the decision not to go to college, and it ended up becoming one of the biggest decisions I made in my life. This decision took a lot of thought, and most people thought I was absolutely crazy when I did it. But looking back, it ended up being the absolute best decision I made in my entire life. And in this video, I'm gonna share why I made the decision not to go to college and why it ended up being the best decision of my life. I think this video is gonna provide a super unique insight on the topic because I am 6 years into this decision. So unlike most videos of people who just made the decision not to go to college, I can actually reflect on the past 6 years and let you guys know if I would do the same thing again. In those 6 years, my journey has been super unique as an entrepreneur, as I've sold almost $3 million worth of other people's products online. I helped build a startup from zero to over 7 figures in sales. I consulted lots of people. I built 2 of my own businesses that didn't end up working out. And then I built my own company called Grouped, which I am now the CEO of, Group.com. And I've raised money. I've met some awesome people. And in my personal life, I've lived in 5 different cities. I've traveled to almost all 50 states. I've traveled to 3 foreign countries. I've got engaged with my fiance, and a whole lot of other exciting things have happened. And that's why I feel like now is a good time to put this out on YouTube and share why not going to college ended up being the best decision of my life. And when I was 18 making this choice, all of my assumptions were true. Now, before I dive into it, I do want to make it clear that this video is not bashing anyone at all who's going to college. There are some great reasons for people to go to college, and I do think what I did is absolutely not for everyone right now. However, with that said, I do also want to make it clear that I am a big proponent for not going to college if you want to do something entrepreneurial. I am a firm believer that college is forced upon people, and it should not be, because there are so many alternative options. And the first place I'm going to start with those alternative options is the internet. The internet is an incredible tool where you can literally learn anything you want to know at your fingertips. So it always blows my mind that people think they need to spend $40,000 a year to get information from a textbook when the internet is literally 30 million times a textbook in terms of knowledge and power, and you can get opinions from all types of different people. So as long as you have the discipline to take your knowledge into your own hands, with self-education nowadays, you can learn anything you want to know and you can master those skills. And the beautiful thing about taking this route with self-education is you can immediately take action on the things that you learned. So for example, when I taught myself e-commerce, which means selling things on the internet, I immediately went into e-commerce literally within that month, took action, and started making my first money. I started pitching people to consult them, and I started learning by doing it. There was no need for me to wait 8 months to consume a semester and then get an internship. I started doing that stuff right away. And on that note, when I was 18, I saw a massive shift beginning to happen. This was back in 2017. And that was that everything was going from brick and mortar, retail, malls, shopping in stores, yada, 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 to buying things on the internet, the Amazon boom, people starting to become influencers, social media blowing up. And what I knew was that is where the money is going to be. And I was right about that, guys. College wasn't teaching it at the time. They're still not teaching it, and they're never going to adapt to teaching it. And they can never move as fast as the internet will move. 6 years ago, influencer marketing was way different than influencer marketing is now. At the time I'm making this video, a tool called ChatGPT just launched, and it is going to revolutionize the way that we do everything online, and colleges won't even start teaching the basics of it probably ever. So an advantage that you have if you're playing the internet game is you're going to be right there with everything that's going on. So again, not bashing college, but the education and the curriculum of these schools, it's much slower than self-education if you want to go on your own pace. The other thing about learning on your own is the freedom you have. You can choose your teachers. You can choose your mentors. You can choose how you want to take action. And when you do it by yourself, you can choose to only study things you're passionate about, which is freedom, and not be required to take a history class, which you hate history because it's part of the school's curriculum, which you're paying $40,000 for, a class that you hate, okay? Like, just think about that logically for a second. It does not make sense, especially now when it doesn't have to be that way. You also have the freedom to take these courses wherever you want. So like I said, I traveled to almost all 50 states. I lived in New York. I took about 5 different road trips across the southeast part of America because I like the beach. I like the warm weather. So in the winters, I was like, I don't want to be in upstate New York where it's subarctic. I want to go somewhere where it's warm, where there are mountains, where there are beaches, and why not? Like, I can do whatever I want. And I knew that because I was disciplined, I would continue to learn. Because the way I was making money was online, I would continue to get paid so I can afford it all. So to backtrack a bit, I said a very important thing about that, which was getting paid. In college, you learn things for 4 years and typically you're not getting paid. Maybe you get a side job at a local restaurant or movie theater, but you're not monetizing the skills you're learning. What I did and what a lot of my friends did and people who don't go to college have the opportunity to do is take action and actually get paid. And when you're getting paid to learn. So what I did was when I learned e-commerce, I went and joined a startup to run their e-commerce store. And that gave me the ability to 1, collect a consistent paycheck to make money, and 2, learn everything I need to know, not only about e-commerce, but also about a startup. So I was getting paid to learn, whereas in college, you aren't able to do that. When you learn things on the internet, you can move so fast, you can take action, and you can get paid to learn by taking that action and monetizing. But again, as you can see, there is a caveat to all of this, and that is it takes discipline. It takes courage. You have to go out there and market your skills, and it really does take a desire to want to create that income and that life for yourself, because self-education isn't the same as college in the sense where you kind of have to do it in college, right? You're forced to show up to those classes. In self-education, it's on you. Like, you have to create your own reality, but the beautiful thing is, that will be the rest of your life. You won't be stuck in this rat race. And that brings me to the next point, which is the rat race. And I hate to use that word because I think it's a shitty term and it really makes people feel like shit. And I shouldn't be cursing in these videos, but it does. And the problem with college is after these 4 years, most people have between 10 and I don't know what the ceiling is of debt, over 6 figures. Why would you want to enter the real world at such a disposition and such a liability to yourself when instead you can self-educate yourself? And even if you're not monetizing the skills you're learning in self-education, so let me make this clear. Even if you're not making money doing e-commerce, if you're trying to teach yourself e-commerce, say you're teaching yourself e-commerce, but you decide to work at a bar. Even if that's the case, you are going to be able to stack your money in your bank account with very minimal expenses. This way, after 2 to 4 years of self-education, when you start getting good enough to make big money from whatever you're learning, you are going to be at a position where you have 100 grand in the bank, 50 grand in the bank, or more, $250,000 in the bank, versus negative 60K, negative 20K. Loans, guys, debt sucks. Debt will cripple you. Debt will hold you back. If you have monthly payments on student loans and you're not making a big salary and you have to pay rents and then you take on credit card debt, which most students will because they're not financially literate, and that's a whole nother video about how college just doesn't teach you anything you need to know about the real world. If you have that debt, you are going to be stuck. You will be in the rat race for the near to long future. You can kiss any idea of starting a business that needs any type of overhead goodbye, unless you want to work from 6 to 11 at night every night. And honestly, a lot of people pull that off, and I totally respect the hustle. A lot of people with 9 to 5 start their side hustle on the side, but it is so much harder when you have that debt. It is so much harder when you have to do it when you're tired from getting home from your job that's going to cover your debt, and you want to meet a girl, right? Or a boy, or whatever. You want to start a family, right? These things suck when you don't have the leverage. So why wouldn't you rather self-educate, start in the real world making money, not losing money, and have the ability to monetize the skills you're learning like the next day? These are some things that I thought when I was 18 and I saw, and for some reason the hardest part about not going to college is the pressure society puts on you, making you feel like you have to do it. Aside from all of this stuff that I realized when I was 18, I was also just not the type of kid to want to sit in class for 4 more years and study shit that I hated. You couldn't pay me to go to another mathematics class when I was 18, okay? You couldn't pay me to sit in another literature class about like fine arts or this stupid stuff these colleges made you take. I was very entrepreneurial. My whole life growing up, I played sports. The reason I actually considered not going to college in the first place was because I was committed to play baseball in college and I got a bunch of surgeries. So I stopped playing baseball. And basically what I'm trying to say was I was never the kid that really cared for school, but I always had big dreams. I always worked hard. I was in the gym, I was grinding, I was playing baseball, I was hustling. I was selling jerseys in high school that I bought from AliExpress to my friends. Like I was always just doing that kind of stuff. And there's so many kids out there just like that who, I'm gonna be honest, college is not for you. And yeah, I did like to party. I like to have fun, but you can do that without college. You can actually get your own apartment like I did, and you still have all the freedom in the world to go out. You can still go to your friends' dorm rooms who are at college and party with them. Like going to college to party is the stupidest thing you can do, especially if you're taking out loans and debt. You're just wasting 4 years. You can party anywhere. But again, like I said, self-education, it's on you. So if you're gonna take the risk to not go to college, you have to be willing to take your education in your own hands, and you have to do it. Like you can't be a bum. So to conclude this video, when I was 18, I knew that going to college would not provide me with the specific skills and experiences I needed to achieve my career goals to become an entrepreneur. And I wanted the freedom to be able to explore my passions, to do things on my own time. I never loved the idea of getting a corporate job or sitting in a classroom for 4 years. And I didn't want to be constrained to a traditional college curriculum. Because of this, I decided to pursue my own self-education where I had the freedom. I could set my own curriculum, my own hours. I can go take action and get jobs right away and start making money right away and really learn through experience. Through that, I learned that hands-on experience was actually the best way to learn. Working for that startup was the best education I could have asked for, because not only did it teach me more about the skills I was involved in the startup for, which was e-commerce and selling things online, but it taught me everything I needed to know about starting a business, growing a business, because it was a startup. I was one of a few early team members. So everything from raising money to marketing, to sales, to financials, to accounting, to hiring, to working as a team, to growing something, to building, design, social media. I learned all of that. And the best part was I got paid while I was learning it. So with all of this said, I highly recommend trying to find a startup to work for when you're out of college, and really to get paid to learn the skills that you want to accelerate in or you want to become an entrepreneur in. My decision not to go to college has allowed me to achieve far more than I would have during those 4 years in college. When I turned 22, that's around the time I would have graduated, I had already sold over $2.5 million worth of other people's products on the internet. I already founded and built my own technology, my own software company called Grouped. And I can go on about things I was able to achieve, not to brag, but just to show you, those 4 years are a long time. And if you put your head down and you focus on building skills, you will be able to do amazing things on your own time. I think a lot of times people who go to college find themselves at a disadvantage because they're starting from behind, when the point of college is to be starting from ahead, right? And that's why I sympathize with people who may have gone to college and regret it, because society is pushing this upon you. They're telling you, this is what you need. You need a degree to get a high paying job. You need a degree to be successful in this world. When in reality, it's letting people out of this fantasy land with $0 to $- to their name. And it's making it a lot harder for you to create freedom for yourself. And if you love college and this video is irrelevant, that's great. Like, I'm not trying to start a debate or anything. I'm simply sharing my opinions. And I do think there's a lot of people who college is extremely beneficial for, and those people should go to college. And I also think there's a lot of people who need to kind of look in the mirror and evaluate, like, hey, am I here for the right reasons, or am I just setting myself up to be behind? And for the people like me, you are mainly who I'm making this video for. For the people who are a little different, for the people who know there's more for themselves, for the people who want to take their education into their own hands and get started in this real world right away, you have the power, one, in yourself, and two, because of the internet, to pave your own path, to teach yourself anything you want to learn, to get mentored by anybody, whether it be like in person by them, or even if it's through their online course or through their newsletter. You have the ability to mold yourself into the person you want to be starting today. So the point is, you have the power and the tools right now, in this moment, you're watching this video on one, to create your own reality, to pave your own path. Just because society is telling you can't, doesn't mean you can't. I'm here to tell you that anyone can do it, so go chase your dream. And if you have any questions about it, because I know it's hard, and I know most people aren't gonna see it or support you, feel free to hit me up. I'm here. Feel free to YouTube any other people who decided not to go to college, because I'm sure they'll say the same thing. They're there for you. And just understand that you can create your own reality. And be sure to subscribe to this channel because I have a lot of content coming out that will help you do the same thing. I will catch you guys in the next video.